Back in August, when I dreamed up my preaching schedule for the year, I imagined that by the end of January, I would need to do a sermon about how the contractors are all finished with our renovation work. And even though we still cannot meet in person, we can start filling the building with a vision of who we will become in the next chapter of our congregation's life. I imagined I would say, we are done building. Now we have to fill the rooms. That's how I imagined it. Our Soul Matters theme for the month of January has been imagination. Even though the contractors are not yet finished, such a project always takes a little bit longer than expected. I still invite you to imagine with me about this stretch of time between when we are finished with the renovation work, but the pandemic is still keeping us from large in-person gatherings. It's been a long journey up until this point. Now that we are nearly finished with this new building, what are we to do with it? Who are we to be in it? I want to be intentional about who we are now that we have this new building. That old cliche, the clothes make the man, is commentary about how we are judged by our appearances. And Jesus did scold the Pharisees, saying they would clean the outside of their cup while the inside was corrupt with greed and indulgence. Do we need to be wary of such problems? I think not. I hope not. We have this shiny new building, a cup that is clean on the outside, fancy new clothes, if you will. It's important to notice that we have not neglected the insides. The point of all of this renovation work has been to help make our building a better reflection of our community. We have been living out our values and our mission through this in-between time. The spiritual home that we talk about in our mission statement has continued while we have been displaced from our building. Our mission talks about honoring our interconnectedness, encouraging growth, and working for justice and compassion. I have witnessed, as surely you have too, that we have remained committed to these guiding values. The building can be perceived as a reflection of our community because each step along the process was grounded in our community's values. Here's an interesting counterpoint, though, to ponder. Perhaps the shiny new building is more than a reflection of our community. Perhaps it's not only a mirror of who we are and have been, but also of who we may yet become. There's an excitement in this project. We've done a grand thing with this renovation, and we have put a bit more into this project than everything we've ever been. There are some dreams and bold hopes built in as well, some vision of something yet to be. It will be exciting to be back in the building when it is done, to inhabit the new spaces, to fill them with our activities and our love. The point is, we have not merely polished the outside of the cup. We have made the whole cup a better reflection of who we are as a community. The counterpoint is that we have added into the plans some hopes and dreams of who we are not yet, but may yet become. For the past month, I have been doing something a little unconventional, at least by my own standards. I have been using the exact same benediction for 5 Sundays in a row. Oh, gee, Douglas, how bold. I know it's a small thing. A subtle change that might not have been noticed. That's why I'm pointing it out. It connects to my title today, Fields of Promise. And it has surprised me how well this one benediction has fit the various topics throughout the month of white supremacy and healing in the pandemic, the young adult worship service, and the interplay of truth and imagination. V. Emil Gudmundsson was an Icelandic Unitarian minister from the mid-1900s, and he wrote, "And now may we have faith in life to do wise planting, that the generations to come may reap even more abundantly than we. May we be bold in bringing to fruition the golden dreams of human kinship and justice. This we ask, that the fields of promise become the fields of reality." Our congregation is like a garden, a field that we have been working for decades. This community has been tending the land, and it has just received a dramatic overhaul. For years, we've been discussing maybe making some changes to the building. These fields, so rich with promise, are being transformed into reality. A few months back, I declared that we need not wait until the building is done to become the people of a new building. We can be those people now. As I have reminded us again and again, we have found creative ways to stay in touch, to keep connected through this pandemic and through the renovation. We have found ways to still serve the community while we are scattered across the wide lands. Throughout this in-between time, we have not just been waiting and watching. We have been living our mission still. Back in the fall of 2017, when we were still near the beginning of this bold building project, I preached a sermon entitled "Building an Audacious and Dangerous Faith." In that sermon, I asked us to think about the magic of our congregation, the essential burning ember at the core. I asked us to recognize the good stuff that's going on in the congregation now, and to consider, what will we be doing better in 5 years? I said, as we think about changes to our physical space, renovations and additions, consider it through the lens of our mission and our vision, and consider what we might do for our building as a way to better live our faith. And that was the fall of 2017, about 3.5 years ago. And I asked us to consider a 5-year stretch, to use our imaginations for a moment. Let's use our imagination right now. Imagine we are sitting together a 1.5 years from now, so as to hit that 5-year mark I mentioned earlier. That was back in the fall of 2017 when I said, what will we be doing better 5 years from now? So if we set a date in the near future, let's say the fall of 2022, to look back over 5 years of work. The first third of that time, 2018 and 19, will have been spent planning and fundraising and dreaming and looking at floor plans. Do you remember how we had all those floor plans hung up all over the rooms? The middle third of that time, 2020, 21, we will have been scattered away from the building during the renovations. The last third of that time, from roughly this spring until the fall of 2022, will have been spent filling the building back up with our presence and our energy and our joy. Some of our elders have been lingering at the sidelines during this pandemic, not interested in the online technology of Zoom. Some of our young families have been overwhelmed by the online technology and are also less present at the moment. Will people return all at once? When we have a safe building in which to meet, will they trickle back slowly and steadily as vaccinations become prevalent? Will the new faces and the returning faces be surprised to see each other? In the fall of 2022, maybe we'll look back fondly at our 2021 in-gathering water ceremony that happened in person in September. Here's hoping. Maybe we will have hosted a grand Witches and Wizards masquerade at the end of October of this calendar year. Maybe we'll have held a big Thanksgiving dinner for ourselves and guests, served from our newly renovated kitchen. Imagine what it will be like. What new classes and activities will we be offering? Will the young adults have hosted a regional gathering in the building? Will we have seen a resurgence of the Women's Crone Con? Will our focus on anti-racism classes and discussions lead to a bold new justice-making program of some sort that is a partnership with the local community? Will we be hosting community forums in our new space? Will we be hosting community dinners? How will we be serving the broader community, serving needs greater than our own, now that we have this fine new building to work from? I am convinced, perhaps unrealistically so, but convinced nonetheless, that we will have developed a multifaceted ministry related to nutrition and hunger. I imagine we might have a stake in the community gardens program, or we may be a soup kitchen or a pantry, or we might just be sponsoring one somewhere else. I imagine that we could end up being a regular supporter of the new Greater Good Grocery in what had been the Northside Food Desert. I imagine we might partner with other congregations feeding the hungry. Or maybe none of those things will occur because something better than I've ever dreamed of will capture our excitement and passion. I think these imaginings of our near future are realistic dreams because of what I have witnessed of how we have managed to live our mission and vision right now. Our reverse Advent food drive from last month was a great success. Over 30 families participated from the congregation, at least in an obvious and countable way. There may have been many others who participated in a quiet way. Canned food was delivered earlier this month to 4 different recipients, the Tioga Rural Ministry and the Binghamton Food Rescue. I read in the report that Heather Kirkland drafted that financial donations were also made to many of the more than half a dozen different food support agencies. Next week is the Super Bowl, and a common activity is to donate soup to make it a Super Bowl celebration as well. So, hey, consider donating some cans of soup next week to Chow or some other food distribution site that is near you. But here's the best of all of it. Our mission and vision as a congregation is not locked into a specific way of growth and service. It can take any form. At that time for all ages that I was painting rocks, talking about hiding hiding them in parks for later in the spring, it's a way of spreading beauty and encouragement. It was inspired by that song that Lois Einhorn sent to me. It was Matt and Savannah Shaw. They're a father and daughter singing duo that became a YouTube sensation during the pandemic this past year. They produced a number of videos of the 2 of them singing together and encouraging others to share their own gifts and talents as well. A few months back, Matt and Savannah Shaw organized a food drive to help an overburdened food bank in their area. Back when there was warmer weather, they would sing at a socially distanced concert in the courtyard of a nursing home. They launched their own Twitter hashtag, share hope, spread joy, in an effort to encourage people to share kindnesses and support each other in the community during the pandemic. The point is this: you have a gift to offer. They had a gift to offer and they leveraged that gift to help other people. You have a gift to offer. Just offer it. It doesn't even have to be leveraged. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to grow into something grand. I don't know, maybe it will, but it doesn't need to. The fields of promise are filled with possibility. Some of that grows into the fields of reality. That's how life works. So this isn't about results. This isn't about a goal. We've already built the building. What I'm talking about now is less about what we end up doing with the building and more about how we get there. It's about how we arrive at whatever the result will be, more than any particular result. Who are we as a congregation? Who are the people of this new building? And how has compassion and justice shaped our path so far? How will we encourage growth going forward? Where has grace appeared on our journey? And where can we encourage it to appear again? I have said before that the only way to become a beloved community is to behave a little more each day as people living in a beloved community. We have done something grand together with this renovation project. We have brought our building forward to be a better reflection of our community. It is a better reflection of who we are and of who we yet may be. We have each taken part in our shared journey to this point. We have each contributed to the mosaic that is our congregation so far. So what's next? What awaits us around the bend? Friends, we are moving together into a new chapter of our faith community. We have set the stage. The first few pages are drafted. The canvas is prepped. The fields are furrowed and ready. And as it does every morning, an adventure of the Spirit awaits us today. In a world without end, may it be so. If you had a chalice or a candle lit, I invite you to extinguish it now with these words that are printed in our order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now, may we have faith in life to do wise planting, that the generations to come may reap even more abundantly than we. May we be bold in bringing to fruition the golden dreams of human kinship and justice. This we ask, that the fields of promise become the fields of reality. Go in peace.